Hello, Dr. Becky at Premier Chiropractic here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about constipation in children. It is something that's very common among children and something that I see often in my practice. Either the parents are bringing the child in because they have constipation or they're bringing them in for another reason. We find out during the exam that the child has constipation. And just a quick disclaimer, the children that I see typically are not just everybody has the same thing. It seems like children, there's a bunch of different factors that go into it. And so I'm not going to give a treatment plan the same for every single child, but I wanted to touch on a few things that I am seeing when children are coming in with constipation. So let's first talk about what is normal. A child should be having a bowel movement 1 time per day. They should not be going a few days in between or a couple days in between and having them here or there. They should be very regular, going at least 1 time per day. The consistency should be soft. It should still resemble that of the intestine, but it should not be hard, rabbit turd-like, or really filling up the toilet. And then the third is that the child should not be in pain while having a normal bowel movement. They shouldn't be bearing down extra hard. There shouldn't be rips. The child shouldn't complain or cry at the stool. Those are some things that I've definitely heard. That being said, if they aren't having any pain, but let's say they're only going every few days or the consistency isn't right, they can still have the constipation. Those are just 3 different factors that we are seeing often. So then the 2 main causes that I see in my office and when I'm researching some stuff is number 1 is diet. In our Western society, we are giving children a lot of processed foods, a lot of heavy gluten and dairy type diets like mac and cheese, pizza, cereals in the morning, things like that. So the children are getting a lot of heavier starches that aren't able to break down as easily as maybe say a fruit or a veggie that's going to make the stool softer. They're getting the maybe more stool hardeners into their diet. So working on things like diet, that's definitely one factor. Then that leads me to the second factor, which is the child holding their bowel movement. So they've eaten a lot of, let's say, mac and cheese, or they've eaten a lot of things that are causing it to become hard, and they have that first bowel movement and it's painful. Children will typically go away from anything that's painful. So they have the bowel movement that's painful. Now they're going to hold it. They have a fear of going, or they know it's going to hurt and they're going to hold it. That stool is going to sit in the end of the colon and just kind of sit there and harden. The longer it sits there, the more moisture that's going out or water that's going out, and the harder it gets. Now the next time that they go to the bathroom, it hurts even more, and as you can see, it's a continual pattern of more constipation. That's probably one of the biggest factors of children not going, is that they are holding it and it becomes worse and worse. So then to, kind of at-home remedies, treatments for it. If you look online or Google, you will find an array of at-home treatments you can do. Now, as a mother of 3 young children, a lot of things that I find are just not going to work for my kids. Lukewarm water with X, Y, and Z in it. They're rarely going to drink it. So I kind of found and picked apart some things that I know are tried and true, very simple to add to kids, that they're not going to complain about. And if you look on the post below, you'll kind of see how I break those down. It would take a while to go into detail, but just take a look at those and kind of my thoughts on each of them. There's definitely some at-home things that can be done, and a lot of at-home things that once the child comes in, gets adjusted, that I want to see them and the parents doing between the next visit to make sure that they're constantly clearing it out. So then that leads me to, as a chiropractor, what am I seeing and what am I kind of treating for in the office? So when the child comes in that has constipation, let's say it's a 4-year-old, they've had constipation, the mother says since they were 1 or 2 years old, they strain at the stool or they're not able to go on the toilet. A few things are happening here. So they lay on the table here, and let's say right in between my hands is where the spine sits, and these are going to be the muscles on each side of the spine. The descending colon goes up the right side, across and down. This is the left side of my body. So down this left side. When I see these children with constipation or don't have a bowel movement daily, I find that the left side paraspinal muscles are raised and quite tense. If I press on them, it's really tight and tender as opposed to the right side, which isn't as tense. I also find there is not very good joint movement in the joints. So if the middle is the spine there, the joints of the spine there have lost movement, as well as we get into the hip area that has kind of lost that joint movement as well. So the reason why this could be happening is the colon, which is now having, supposed to be a certain size and is holding so much, more and more expands, and it's filled up with space. It's putting a lot of pressure on that low back and kind of the lower left quadrant of the tummy. So it kind of locks everything up there. Now what happens when the child tries to go, or throughout the day, they kind of have a lot of tension in their low back pain, things like that with the child. They try to go and it really hurts, kind of preventing them to go all the way. Just some things that I'm seeing here. So what I do is I adjust the child, get a little bit of joint movement into that hip and area, and do some muscle work to tone down the muscles of that area so they get a little bit of relief of pressure. That's going to hurt less on the stool. They're going to go a little bit more often. I also find a lot of kids that are coming to the office tell me they don't want to sit on the toilet, so we'll kind of have a one-on-one conversation with the kid about going on the toilet a little bit more, give them some stuff to do while they're there, and it's kind of a little homework, and they find it, the mom can say, "Remember, doctor said," and it helps them at home a little bit more too. So it's just kind of a spiral that way. I also hear from parents, maybe it's right after the adjustment, they message or call me and say, "Oh, they just went right after they got adjusted," or "they got home and they went to the bathroom." Very cool. I kind of want to tell you what's going on there too. We're getting joint movement, which is great. In another video, I talked about the parasympathetic versus sympathetic. Parasympathetics are your rest and digest. When I'm adjusting that side, it activates that parasympathetic state a little bit more. So the child who maybe isn't good at resting and digesting, or that part of their system has shut down just a little bit from being so constipated, it activates that, turns it on, they're able to go to the bathroom a lot easier. So just a couple things that I see in my office, and maybe some stuff that can help you at home. If you have any specific questions, or your child has constipation, or you're concerned that they might have constipation and want to see how chiropractic could maybe help them, give our office a call, and I would love to sit and chat with you. I will see you in the next video.